Hi, this is Dave from Space, and I'm very excited to have as my guest as a space artist interview this evening, the great George Porter Jr., man. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
It's been, what, about 4 years?
About 4 years, almost 4 years.
Yeah, I know you were here with PBS with Brian and Russell.
Yeah, I remember it was a fun night.
It's been too long, man. I'm glad you're back. And you got the Runnin Pardners. And this is a band you've had together for a couple decades.
Runnin Pardners has been in about 25 years.
Wow.
Brent, the guitarist, Brent Anderson, has been playing with the band for almost 22 years, 23 years maybe.
Yeah. In terms of writing with the meters, was that a democracy, or did you guys each bring in your own tunes, or did you write together?
I didn't get. I was like left out.
Oh,
I mean, in the early days, we were all writing. You know, everything that came in, we kind of wrote stuff as it happened. We just play and something developed from it.
So were you touring a lot with the meters during the 60s when you guys were doing a lot of?
We were on the road. We were on the road pretty much. I would probably say 9 months out of the year.
Okay.
You know, it was just stretched out. Not out solid 9 months, but you know, it was we may go home for maybe 10, 15 days and then back out on the road.
Yeah. You
know, or the most time we were ever home at a longer period of time was when Allen had us doing some sessions, you know.
Yeah.
And he would keep us around the city for maybe two weeks at the time or something like that.
Were you a big part of the New Orleans recording session scene as early
with
as
Allen
the
Toussaint?
Right.
We did most of the almost all of Allen's recordings sessions that he did from probably around 67 to probably 71 maybe.
Okay. Now could you tell me, because I'm a big Allen Toussaint fan and he's played here a couple times, could you tell me about what his role is like as a producer and working with him in the studio?
Well, when we doing his recordings, he was, he was very meticulous on because he had the full vision. You know,
right.
He didn't want us to read anything. He just, he wanted us to play. So he dictated parts for us to play in there. You know, and he was very meticulous about the parts that we played.
Yeah.
You know.
So
me and him bumped heads a lot of times because I would add a little me in here every now and then.
Yeah.
You know, and he would look up.
Right. If I had to pick a desert island list of discs, this would be in the top 10 right here. Meters Fight on the Bayou.
Oh, no kidding! This is
I love that record so much. That's from, is it the mid 70s?
This was mid 70s, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it might have been 73, 70, maybe 74.
Okay. And now, an interesting thing about this is had Cyril Neville joined the meters at this point? Or
Cyril was in the band by that time. We had already, that's actually, now I'm saying that this had to be after the Rolling Stones 75 tour.
Okay.
I think we did this recording. I may be wrong, man. I'm looking at some of the songs on here.
Yeah, Out in the Country.
Out in the Country.
They All Ask for You.
Yeah, this might be 74. This might be 74. So Cyril hadn't joined the band yet. He had done. I think we used Cyril on some of the Cabbage Alley records, and then Cyril left and went to New York and stayed with his brother Charles for a while.
Okay.
So he wasn't really in the band, and I think when we did this record, they all brought Cyril back to New Orleans. Yeah. Cyril was back in New Orleans, and he came in on the session on this. So I believe the idea of getting Cyril into the band probably started with this record.
Okay.
Because the Rolling Stones thing came up, and at that point it was like we had to have Cyril in the band according to management.
Okay.
Because we needed somebody in front.
Okay.
Just a full piece standing. Because the Meters weren't a glamorous band. We didn't. Yeah. We just stood up and played.
Right.
We didn't jump around. I jumped around more at 65 than I did when I was 35.
I've noticed that.
And so the idea of having somebody up front that was visual focus was something that management thought was very important. So they got Cyril. Cyril wanted to play percussions. He wanted to play congas. Yeah. And they was really adamant. They didn't want him to play. They wanted him to be out front singing. And Cyril didn't want to do that. Cyril wasn't not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, he still isn't. You know, he still likes to get behind his drums and play his drums.
Yeah.
Know?
Going back to the early days of the Meters, you guys recorded some of the greatest instrumental music in R&B and funk history.
Yeah.
And I know I talked to Leo Nocentelli about this, and he said that a lot of the tunes like Punji, for example, a lot of your most famous and greatest instrumentals, you didn't really play out live too much. They were mostly studio works.
Those songs never ever got played live.
Why is that? Why was that, I should say?
I don't have a real answer for that. You know,
Yeah.
it was like, you know, I think out of all of them, when a record came out, there were probably, if there were 12 songs on that record, we probably played 3 or 4.
Uh-huh.
You know, that got into rotation, you know.
I see.
And even today, it's still hard for me to get these guys to play some of those other songs. I mean, it was so bad for me that I recorded my latest Runnin Pardners album, which was like a year and a half now. I recorded 16 of my favorite Meter songs that were never performed live by the Meters.
Like which ones? Give us a couple.
Well, Punji would be. I
Yeah.
think Punji. No, Punji was not one of them. It
Okay.
wasn't. But Britches.
Okay.
What You Say. Stay Away.
Yeah.
Dry Spell. No, not Dry Spell. Ease Back.
Speaking of Ease Back, you know whose version I love is Grant Green.
Grant Green's, yeah.
Yeah, the great jazz guitar player covered
Grant Green
covered a Meters tune.
You know, it was a funny thing is, Hammond Scott brought me in to do a session with a guitar player out of Atlanta, Georgia. I think he recently passed away. I can't think of his name now, but and the guy wanted to you know, he had these songs, and we gotten close to the end of the session, and the guy Hammond told him, said, "Well, just play something else," you know. So he started playing this song, and I'm saying to myself, "Man, I know this song. What is this? I know this song. I can't put my finger on it." So we stopped for break. We took a break for lunch. We was at our Ultrasonic Studio, which is like off of Pine, the corner of Pine and Washington. I lived on Pine Street, like 6 blocks away.
Okay.
So I ran home, got home, and put my MP3 player on, and just was running through Meter songs because I knew I knew that song from somewhere, and it was Ease Back. So
Yeah.
I get back to the studio, and so we recorded it, you know, and Hammond asked the guy, saying, "So what's the name of this song?" He called it something else, you know, and I said, "No, man, that's not the name of that song." And he said, "What do you mean?" Hammond said, "What you mean?" I said, "The name of that song is Ease Back. That's a Meter song."
Yeah.
You know, and the guy didn't know it was a Meter song. He thought he was ripping off Grant Green.
I think I've heard that song. Maybe recorded by. Are you on the Robert Ward record on Black?
Robert Ward!
Robert Ward. That's it. Because he called it something else.
Yes.
He called it something else.
Yes.
A couple musical questions. You're probably one of the most influential R&B and funk bass players ever. Who are your biggest influences on bass guitar? Who were like your idols growing up, and who did you strive to try to play like?
The guys who I listened to and was my idols were guys that nobody know. You know, there was a guy named Benjamin Francis, a Papi. You know, he was a wonderful bass player, and he was the guy who, you know, took me from being an acoustic guitar player to playing bass. You know, and I would sit with him and his grandfather and play. You know, and they would teach me the bass lines to all these songs, and then cause I'm playing because I'm a classical guitarist. So
really,
you know, so he was teaching me how to play these bass lines, and at the same time, you know, I'm learning how to play. I'm still playing guitar, but I'm learning bass lines in all the structure.
Yeah. In terms of any younger cats on the scene, younger bands that we might not know of, or younger players that you've heard that you're excited about, anyone you'd like to tell us about?
I got sober and got to be a boring old man. I don't go nowhere no more.
But
you know?
I mean, you're playing Bonnaroo and all these hip
yeah, but I
fests
don't go. You know,
okay.
I play the gig and I leave.
Okay.
You know, rarely hang. You know, they got some players out there that I have played. You know, like the Adam Deutsches and you know those young guys up in New York and Eric Krasno and those guys. You know, I mean, just youngster that's playing drums with me now, Terrence Houston. Man.
Yeah.
You know, man.
Yeah.
Chris Royal, you know, another young influential player, man, saxophone player. These guys are wonderful. You know, they're the ones that those two gentlemen when I decided I was going to revamp my band after PBS broke up, and well, after PBS was forced into breaking up,
yeah, I heard.
You know, it was like I decided that I was just going to do everything from scratch. I wasn't going to do anything, you know. And my daughter, you know, kind of told me that, you know, Daddy, you need to find you some young musicians and start playing with them. You know?
So one last question: if you were stuck on a desert island and had to have, you know, a few of your all-time favorite records with you, could you name a few? Let us know what George Porter Jr. would have on his iPod or on his boombox.
I don't know. It might be Chopin.
All right.
I mean, I listen to lots of classical music. I don't listen to the music that we play. You know, I might listen to what I do.
Yeah.
But no, I don't listen to music in general.
Hey, would it be cool if we shot maybe a couple songs and included it on the interview?
Absolutely.
Right on. Thank you so much, George.
Thanks, Dave.
Great talking to you.
Thanks for inviting me back.
All right. Great to have you. Thank you.